All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Behind the Book, where honest reviews spark deeper, more meaningful conversations. I'm Erica M. Burrell, the teacher lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. This week, we're talking all about the planet Earth and environmental justice. And today's Behind the Book is a resource to allow us to do just that. If you have not done so, go check out our Teacher Lady Reads playlist, where we have Are You Going to Recycle That? A children's book about the environment, written and illustrated by me, as well as another review on that book. But today we are going to be talking about The Tantrum That Saved the World. At the end of the week, we will be airing The Teacher Lady Speaks, where I take all of the information we have learned this week, as well as my experience as a well-seasoned educator, and I give you the resources and the tools you need to help you help them. Now, today's Behind the Book segment, I will be sharing my glows, what I think was done well, my grows, things that I think were a missed opportunity, who this book is for, how to use it as a resource to discuss the topic with your little one, and so much more on this segment of Behind the Book, where we go past the pages to get to the heart of the story. You ready? Let's go. Summary in my own words. So this is the story of Sophia. Sophia is at home, she's chilling, and all of a sudden, all of these people come into her house with their problems, each one related to environmental issues. Not only is she frustrated with all of these people invading her space, but she's going to do something about it. And so she goes down to city officials and demands change. She leads protests, and she makes it very clear that she needs the environment to be better for all of these reasons, for people in her community, for animals, and for so much more. So there were two take-home messages that really stood out in my mind. The first was the ability to advocate and to use your voice to see and make meaningful change. The message of advocacy was extremely clear. It shows Sophia kind of going through her frustration, being like, I'm over this, stumping down to city officials. It shows her doing collective impact and community work to gather people and to really have her voice heard. That message was delivered very clearly. The second message is about the environment itself, the negative effects of some of the decisions that we're making and how it's harming the people that she cares about or the people that she wants out of her house. Either way, right? The second message, which is the base of the story, which is all about the environment, for me was a miss in regards to the age group. So the recommended age for this book is 5 years old to 9 years old, as stated on the book itself. And when I read this book to children in K1, there are a lot of questions about what's going on. Let me read you some of the stances that kind of give them pause and make them confused as to what the issue is. I need an appointment regarding this fauna who've noticed our planet's becoming a sauna. So bring us the top dog, the biggest big cheese, to solve all our problems and put us to ease. They said take a number and wait if you please. That's not clear. It's not clear what's going on. I often have students be like, cheese. Message of advocacy and protesting and standing up for what is right is clear. The what that is gets a little convoluted when it comes to younger children. And so with that being said, though, I do feel like this would be a valuable resource for children who are a bit older. I would say about second grade, you will be able to pull a really honest, in-depth conversation, depending, of course, on the developmental levels of your child, past age. Overall, I think that this is a safe bet and a really beautiful resource for children in second grade and up. Who should add this to their library? One, if you have a child that is really into the environment and the planet, they don't need an introduction, this would be a good book for them. I really appreciate the fact that it tries to consistently rhyme. I think that that's always a cute and added element. So I would say if you have a child that's already invested in the environment, if your family is already really invested in planet Earth, this would be a really good gift. I would also say if you have a child that is struggling with speaking up, right? Standing up for an issue, speaking up in regards to something that they believe in. This could also be a really helpful resource, because what is clearly illustrated in this book is that Sophia is not coming to play with y'all. She is tired of whatever issues she's experiencing. She's sick of them, okay? And it very clearly shows her taking action in order to make meaningful, lasting change. And that is one of my glows for this book. Let's go. One of my glows for this book is Sophia. The way that they wrote the character out, and makes her very real. Sometimes in children's books, we kind of get a little magical and extra with our storytelling. And for me, Sophia's personality and her character came across very clearly, and I love that. I was able to connect with her. I was able to understand her annoyances as a person who don't like uninvited guests, so I was able to get it. My students were able to get it. It was definitely a glow for me. Two glows I'm going to discuss, interestingly enough, part of them are still in the glows, and then part of them are in my growth section. So the rhyming, I love stories that rhyme. It makes me feel like a poem. It makes me feel like a song. I believe, though, in this case, although the rhyming was beautifully done, I believe some of the message got lost in the attempt to make the words rhyme. Let me give you an example. Sophia stepped forward, ignoring the line. She spelled out the science and held up her sign. When someone else suffers, the whole world's affected. The earth is our home. We have to protect it. Despite her sound logic, she still was deflected. Your sentiment, sweet kid, but what you don't get is fixing these problems will put us in debt. We've done all we can. You don't understand. You're too young to grasp all the issues at hand. If you've got something you still need to say, send in a form and file it away. That does very well in terms of advocacy and her advocacy being denied. It does not, for me, detail what her issues are. Let me give you one more example. It rumbled down streets into towns of all lands. It echoed in forests, on glaciers and sands. People and creatures alike felt its force. They ditched their distractions and looked for the source. There was Sophia and friends holding court, telling the people to lend their support. Cooperative action could turn this high tide. They had strength in numbers and right on their side. Again, very clear stance and message when it comes to advocacy and protesting. The why can get shifted a bit. My glows is the fact that a glossary was added. I love a good glossary. As an educator, glossaries are super valuable. They are life, right? However, again, when you are dealing with glossaries, the way in which you explain something on a child's level is super important. So one of the glossary's definition is carbon dioxide, or CO. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas produced naturally. If the burning of fossil fuels can cause CO2, and too much of it in the atmosphere causes warming of our planet and climate change. Carbon footprint, the amount of CO2 emissions created by a person, company, action, or event. The book is good for older children who already have a background in the environment. If you need an introduction story, I would start with Are You Going to Recycle That?, which has just the basic foundational issues. Then I would use this as a step up to go even deeper into those problems. And my last glow, which I've bounced back and forth in this section, the last glow for me are the pages at the end that beautifully highlight what I believe the book was trying to go for. These sections that are not rhyming, just written about what are global warming, melting ice, sea level rise, pollination, the importance of healthy oceans, and so many other elements. That for me is the heart of the story. At the end, these paragraphs, and although they don't rhyme, that's where the message is brought home in regards to what the base of the story was going after. And so the rhyming, while I think is beautiful, I think the message got a bit lost and muddy. And then at the end of the book, when the authors just spoke about like, hey, this is what's going to happen if our ice continues to melt, it makes it a lot easier to digest in terms of what they were trying to bring home. This would be a good book to discuss why they believe some of these issues are taking place. So at this point, you've read the book, you get a better idea of what's going on and what are the causes. Because if you know the causes, then your family can go into a conversation about how you are contributing to change those issues. What can we do? Maybe we don't march down to City Hall, but can we turn the water off when we're not using it? Maybe we don't plan a protest and a march, but can we be more mindful of the electricity we have running when we don't need it? Can we use more sunlight? So on and so forth. So really finding different ways to make change within your family and having that discussion would be an awesome bridge after using this book as a resource. My final thoughts are that this is a story that is really, really beautifully done. I believe that the pages were intentional. The rhyming, although beautiful, took away from the overall message. Now, the saving grace for me for this in the beginning of the book, children didn't get it. At the end, there will be something to take away. So yes, I do recommend this story, especially if you are looking to make meaningful change and impacts regarding planet Earth. If you are looking for more ways and information on how to incorporate this topic into your day-to-day life, check out the Teacher Lady Speaks episode at the end of the week, which wraps us up in terms of this topic. And finally, as a lifelong reading specialist, author, illustrator, advocate, I would like to introduce you to what is now known as the Empathy Library, previously known as the Pay It Forward program. It is our direct-to-community action in terms of getting books to the children and the educators that need them most. Until next time, this has been Behind the Book with Erica Burrell, the Teacher Lady, where we go beyond the pages and get to the heart of the story. And don't forget, enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.